Welcome back, friends. I'm Mellowseven, and this is Football Manager 2018. We are on the steps of the Stade François Coty because we are going to be coaching AC Ajaccio. Today we have the transfer window to talk about. What have we done in the off-season to hopefully improve the team? And we're going to play our first game. Stay tuned. Well, guys, it has been an interesting off-season. It has been hard. I would have loved to have coached last year's team with AC Ajaccio. The scary thing is, despite what I consider a spectacular monster team, they only finished mid-table. And I have a sneaking suspicion that this year we're worse. So what are we going to do this year? Well, we have to be top half. That's what the board wants. So let's take a look at kind of the ins and the outs. Now, first of all, we had 3 loanee players. They're gone, including 2 really good strikers. They're out the door. So let's take a look and see the rest of this here. So transfer history. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Come on, let me get over here. Loan deals. Can we look at last season? So last season, you can see this is what they had in for loan deals. So they had Samuel Tessa here. There we go. Midfield center. Very good player, as you can see there. Looks spectacular. Great at corners, especially. Would have been amazing to have for set pieces. They had Mohamed Salah, defender in the center there. Good physicals. Pretty decent mentals as well. And great heading. So although a jumping reach of only 11 kind of mitigates that a little bit, but not too bad. They had Matthew Duez, played midfield center as well. Again, good physicals, good mentals, and technicals. That 17 first touch with a 15 long shot is spectacular. And 14 technique on top of that. Also out. Joseph Noya, striker, good physicals again. Great acceleration. Pace isn't huge, but good acceleration. And you can see a composure of 13, a flair of 15, off the ball of 12, anticipation. I mean, those mentals for a striker are just, they're not off the charts because clearly we charted them, but they're very, very good. And you can see the the technicals are pretty good as well, with a good first touch and decent finishing and decent technique. And then we have Kennedy Afolabi, also midfield center. Physicals are decent, good natural fitness. Everything else is okay. Balance of 16. How useful that is for, I mean, it doesn't hurt, but I don't know that it makes him a spectacular midfield center. Mentals are okay with good decisions and some flair. Seems to be a creative player, although his anticipation isn't spectacular. Decent first touch, good passing. So those are the players that we lost last season. Those were our loanees last season. This season, these are the loanees that we've replaced them with. We have Geslin Kinsambi, excuse me. Great physicals, right? 17 acceleration, good pace, everything's in the green, good balance. He's going to be able to get in there with a strength of 13 and his balance of 16, and hopefully be able to mix it up a little bit with the defensive centers of the other team. Finishing is a 12. Mentals, decent anticipation, decent composure, good off the ball, and a little bit of flair doesn't hurt. So I think he's going to be good for us. We'll see how it turns out. Nathan Dominici here. We brought him in to play defensive center. He's got good physicals again. Stamina's not spectacular. Hopefully he doesn't have to do that much running. But what we were looking for was acceleration, positioning, and marking so that we can play a higher line and not get beat over the top, right? We'll be able to retreat if we need to. We'll be in a good position to do so, and we'll have the acceleration to do so. That's the plan. Those came before tackling and heading, to be honest, although he does have good jumping reach. So we'll see how that goes. And then we've got Antonio Ferrario, defensive left and center. He is going to play defensive left for us most of the time. Acceleration and pace, I'm a little upset about. They're not spectacular. We'll see how that goes. But he does have good stamina, which is going to be important. He is going to be doing a fair amount of running out there. And he's strong. His mentals are very good with good teamwork. And you see he makes good decisions. I mean, they're just good, right? Off the ball is not spectacular, but he's not necessarily supposed to be an offensive player in our scheme of things. So we'll see how it goes. Technicals are a little bit weak. He is only 17 years old. He does have decent tackling, and his marking's a 10. So not bad. There's some 9s and 10s in there. So we'll see how it goes. Now, as far as actual transfers, well, let's see. Released players. We may as well look at that. We've released a lot of players. So most of these are probably not spectacular players. You can see right there. We're probably not going to run an attacking midfield center at all. And so somebody like Leo here, who's not spectacular, probably not going to see him much. We'd let him go. There's no point in throwing money after him. Thomas here on the left. Again, I don't know why it doesn't actually let us see his numbers, considering he was our player, but he wasn't very good. Let's just go with that. Riyad Habas here. He is pretty good. I think it just came down to money for him was the deal. He was on too much. His contract was over, and I just decided to let him go. Maybe we get him back. I don't know that we need him. I'm not really looking for a poacher per se. We'll just have to kind of keep an eye. But the technicals are good. He's also 27. And so I was worried a little bit that, if we sign him to a long-term contract, we weren't getting much out of him. But we probably do have a few years out of him, especially with a natural fitness of 13. We could have just made the decision not to. I mean, that's what it comes down to. A defensive midfielder, midfield center. Again, just a contract up. I looked at what I had and what we needed, and we decided to let him go. We had a little bit of a large team last season. So some of these players are just kind of in an effort to slim back down. There's no point in throwing money after players that aren't an upgrade over what we have. And you'll see some of that here. This is just a 34-year-old center back with no acceleration and pace. And because of the advanced line that we want to run, he needs to be able to move. So again, he was on decent money. Wasn't worth bringing back. Jesse Delahaye, great physicals. Mentals are not too bad. Technicals are pretty bad aside from the technique of 14. 21 years old. Again, contract was up. He wasn't better than what we had as far as subs. We decided to let him go. It's just kind of the end of that. Jocelyn Janot, I think this one we can all agree we didn't need to keep anymore. And Jimmy Boer is kind of the same way. I mean, that's a lot of ones in there. So that's kind of what left on a free. Let's look at what we actually sold and bought. And we'll start with the sells. There's a lot of money over there, 2.4 million worth. You can see we sold Yori de Camps, defensive midfield center. This was, again, 32 years old. He was on money. We decided to move him on. We got $375,000 for him. Clark and Sokulu, 32 years old. He wanted to be the team captain. And I couldn't find a spot for him on the team. And he was I think he had the highest payroll of anybody on the team. And we had him for 2 more years. He was under contract for 2 more years. At something like, I want to say like $8,500 a week or something stupid like that. It was a lot. So we decided to let him go. This was one of the hard ones here. Idris Koulibaly. Now, he's very good, but we have another player in that position who's also very good. So we got a decent offer in for him, $525,000, could grow as far as $700,000. I decided just to cash in on him, essentially. He wasn't going to get the starts he should get, so we've decided to let him go. But we have another good player at his position, so that wasn't an issue. This one was much harder. Mehdi Benedina here is spectacular. And I was turning down offers. I had no depth behind him. I had 0 depth behind him. We had to sign a left and bring in a loanee to try to fill. But we needed at least one regardless of what we did with him. But you can see value of 1.8. We got 1.5 up front, and it's going to go to 2 million with payments and everything else. So we got good value, good money for our value. And 1.8 million, that's a lot, or 1.5 to 2 million. That's a lot of money for this team. Okay, I think we had like 2.3 million in the bank total. So we essentially doubled our income or our money with this player. And so I think we had to take it. I really didn't want to. It was really hard. I actually saved the game before clicking accept because I was so uncertain that it was what I wanted to do. And then I saved it and slept on it. So I got up in the morning and said, we're just going to go with it. It is what it is. And Bruno Casanova, we've released on a free as well, and you can see why. So he went to Atolia here. Now, players that we brought in. We didn't bring in anybody as good as Medi. Okay, that's just it. I mean, these two players are very, very good. And Yori's not too bad as well. But I think we did okay. Some of these are players I brought in. At least one of them is a player that our general manager brought in. Jeffrey Thomas here, defensive center. This is one the GM brought in. He actually brought in 2 defensive centers, and we needed them. I don't think this young man's ever going to see the light of day on our team, though. I really, really don't. I'm not impressed by his physicals. I'm not impressed by his technicals. He's 20 years old by this point. He should have some technicals, and I don't expect to see a huge improvement over the physicals. And an acceleration of 7 and pace of 8 with the system we want to play is just not going to work. He's very aggressive. He does make good decisions, and he does have good positioning. That's kind of the extent of it for him. He's gonna live on the reserves for a little while. Geslin Kinsombi here, we brought in, 22 years old, on loan from RC Lens. So we already talked a little bit about him. He's our loanee, but you can see there, acceleration of 17, pace of 13, finishing of 12, decent composure, decent flair, good determination, leadership off the ball. Mentals are very good. Physicals are very good. Technicals are okay. So we'll see how that goes. I think it'll play okay at our level. We bought in Luke Chauvin for $5,000, and I think you guys can agree that that was a bargain. An 18-year-old who's determined. You can see every number's been up as we've been playing. He's been playing very well. Good physicals, again, are very good. He can't jump to save his life. But other than that, physicals are spectacular. Mentals are good with a 19 determination, which I love. Work rate, but it's on the way up. These are all numbers that are up. And his technicals are okay, are decent as well, especially since they're improving. But for £5,000, I mean, what can you say? I mean, he's just great. Attacking midfield right, he's going to fill in as our backup there. We're going to see about getting him a fair amount of play. I'd really like to see him develop well. Nathan Dominici, you can see we brought him in as a defensive center. He's the one that we loaned in. Again, good acceleration. That's what we're looking for our movement, with good positioning, good leadership, determination, decent decisions, and his marking of 12 and tackling of 11. Heading's only 9, but he does have good jumping reach, so I think we can live with that. Matteo Simon, this is one we bought. He's not probably the one I would have bought. He's the one the GM put an offer in for. I do control the final contract negotiation. So if he brings in somebody just absolute horribly or he completely messes it up, I do have a final say. We're not giving him free reign. But he brought him in. At this point, I really didn't have defensive centers when I agreed to this. We had offers out for a couple to loan, one of which ultimately turned us down. And Nathan, we hadn't heard back from for, like 10 days. It had been a while. So I said, okay, if we get the guys we want, he'll be a good substitute. If we don't, then he can do a job. So he does have acceleration. His positioning's not spectacular. That worries me a little bit, but he does have good marking. His heading's okay. So he'll work for us. He does want first team. He's not going to get first team. We'll knock that down here shortly. Antonio Ferrario, we already talked a little bit about him. He was our other loanee, defensive left and center. He is going to play defensive left. He was initially going to be the backup to Medi. So we brought him in. He's not super fast, which does bother me a little bit, but we're not going to be using these guys as super offensive. In our system here, we're going to actually play a much more defensive fullback than we've played in the past. If we still had Medi, we would play him as a complete wingback. We would have. He would have gone and he would have been part of the attack. But it's not necessary for the system that we want to run here. And you see he's got very good mentals. He's only 17 years old. So the technicals are going to come up. The physicals hopefully come up a little bit. And the mentals are essentially already there. I can live with that. So good positioning already, good teamwork. He's going to do what we need him to do. Really like that. Real happy with him. And then Flavius, we brought in Flavius Pulu here. First of all, because his name is Flavius. That's half of it, to be honest. But we got a decent deal on him. We paid $190,000 for him. He's valued at 125. He had a contract out. The other players we were looking at were, 2 to 15 million each, and we couldn't afford that. We could conceivably have brought 2 million in, but it didn't really make a whole lot of sense. I mean, if we wanted to just hang on to, if we didn't care about the 2 million, we would have just kept Medi. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. So I was looking for value here, not necessarily somebody that was going to step in and fill Medi's shoes. That just wasn't going to happen. So you can see, though, Flavius is decent. Again, not the fastest player in the world, but he's got decent positioning. He's a lot more aggressive than we see Antonio is, with an aggression of 5. That's up to 15. But he's good determination, good concentration. His decisions are okay. His positioning is decent. Work rate is good. And good defensive stats. A marking of 12 and a technique of 12 and a tackling of 11. So I think all in all, again, we're not looking for somebody who's going to be as great as Medi was. We're looking for somebody who can play defensive fullback there, or maybe not defensive fullback, but fullback on a defend and a support, and be solid defensively. That was our big weakness last season, was the defense. I think we're okay. So you can see 2.4 out, 325 in, giving us a net gain of about 2 million. Now, if we take a look at the league in general, and let's see if I can do that. League 2. Transfers, is this what we're looking for? Now I want transfer window, I think. You can see the league as a whole followed us. A net transfer spend of 19.73 million out, or money's in, players out, and only 3 million in players in. So the whole league was a seller's league this season. Now, most importantly for us is the fact that Nancy was selling teams. Because they're supposed to be very good, and we have to play them in a first round of one of our cups. So you can see here, they sold Musa Cilia here for 5.25. So I think we can live with that. They had 6 out for a total of 10.75 mil, and only 1 in that was a free. So hopefully that means they are also not as good a team this season as we are. Now, there were some buyers here. You can see Marseille here bought 6 players. Clermont Foot bought 5 players. These guys didn't sell anybody. You can see, that's going to kill me. Sochaux, Montbelliard. They bought 10 players in, sold 4 players. They paid 525,000 for somebody, so not too shabby. But I think that's the biggest player in this season. Yeah, that's the biggest player in, but you can see there's a 700,000, a 3.4 mil, 1.3 mil, 1.7 mil. So this was a seller's league. So we're not as good, but the vast majority of the league's not as good as well. So I think we'll be okay with that. So we'll see. What do you think? What do you think of my tie here? I tried to go red and white for the team. Got pinstripes here because it looks tacky, like a football coach would wear. So that's what we've gone with. I think this is the first one I've dressed up for. All right. So, yeah, I think that covers the transfer window. Let's go ahead and take a look at how our friendlies have gone. About what we can expect. These players are not, the vast majority of these teams are not as good as us. The only one we played that is better than us was Cagliari here. And we got a draw. And to be honest, they snuck in an undeserved goal there at the end to get a draw. We pretty well, I won't say dominated, because dominated is not the right word. When you look at the match stats, you'll see it. But you can see that despite the fact they had 60% possession, they had 3 shots and 2 on target, and those were all in like the last 5 minutes of the game, as they really, really pushed hard. Going into extra time or stoppage time, we dominated on this side. We had 10 shots, 3 on target. We didn't have any clear-cut chances. Oddly enough, all 3 of their shots were 3 clear-cut chances there at the very end. But we did have 4 half chances, and we weren't shooting from long range very often. So while we did give up possession, defensively we were very strong, and we were able to do what we needed to do. I'm seeing pop-ups. I'm just making sure display capture's not on, so you don't have to see all my junk mail rolling through. So this was the one game against a quality opponent. Other than that, we pretty much just crushed people. The only negative is we didn't get many goals from anybody other than Jordan D'Ambrosio here, who is our starting striker. As far as other strikers go, excuse me. We got 1 from Jesslyn here and 1 from Jesslyn here. Those were the only 2 goals from a striker not named Jordan. And they played the entire second half, every single match. So you can see he got 2 goals in the first half. Our strikers didn't get anything in the second half. We didn't get any goals from strikers there. We didn't get any goals from striker. We got 1 there. And we got here. So I guess really it's not as bad as I was thinking it is, because we only got 3 from Jordan. And then we got 2 from Jesslyn. And some of these were blowout games. But, I mean, you can see all these goals. Well, 1 goal in the second half at the very beginning, and then nothing. Again here, 3 goals in the first half, nothing till the very end. These goals, essentially 2 there, 1 right out of half. 2 of in stoppage, or, in the first half, or stoppage time, 1 in the second. And 3 there, and then we snuck 1 in. So we're very much a first half team. But how much of that is our team makeup, and how much of that is just we were blowing people out and they, let their foot off the gas? I don't know. 4 days from now, we've got our first match against Consulat Marseille. It is an away match. Let's go ahead and take a look to see where they are supposed to be and where we are supposed to be. Let's check out the season preview. We are way down here in 14th place. Luckily for us, they are a newly promoted team, and they are considered to be the worst of the group. So hopefully going away isn't going to hurt us too much. We can go into their house. Maybe we can steal an away game for our first victory and get away with that. Let's take a look real fast at our formation. I've got 2 of them built here. This is a 4-4-2, as you can see. This is actually the same one we played at Vithor, with some very minor differences. I have pushed the line higher up a little bit, and I think I took work the ball into the box off. I think that's what we've done. So we've moved it up and we've taken work the ball into the box off. Otherwise, this is just the same thing we played at Vithor. No real changes. So you can see very defensive across the back, very supporty across here. We've got a box-to-box midfielder, so Martin's going to do a little bit of everything. And then up here, we would have our 2 strikers. And in this case, it's got our personnel from up here. So, but in this case, we would run Kinsonobi, and we would run, generally speaking, Jordan D'Ambrosio. But as you can see, he's injured. So our other formation, this is what I initially planned on running for the season, probably what we will play most of the season, is this, a 4-1-4-1, very similar to what we played last season. But the team instructions are a little bit different. We are not an all-out attacking team in this case. We are going to be a little bit more possession. We are going to play a higher line, try to limit the space the other team has to work in. That's our goal. We'll see how that goes. A slightly more modern play style. Normally, we're going to run Jordan up here as a false 9. Kinsombi is not a false 9. So we are going to change him a little bit. I think we're going to run him as a target man on support most of the time. We may change that up a little bit. We'll see how it goes. But that's, I think, what he's going to do for us. We've got Jigla here and Barbier. I told you we had an excellent defensive mid left over there. And you can see he's very, very good. So I don't really think... I think we're going to be okay here. We're not going to miss selling another player at this position. So spectacular. We did renegotiate a contract for Jigla here. And I think he also looks very good. I think we'll be very happy with him as well. And he can play right and left, both, although he would rather be an attacking mid or attacking right and left rather than a mid right and left. But we can live with that. So yeah, those guys are going to be on our outside. They are going to be on attack. We've already taken a look at Kinsombi here. Normally, we're going to run Jordan D'Ambrosio. He is injured. He is out for a while, 4 to 7 weeks. He just got injured in the last game, unfortunately. But you can see, pretty good false 9. He's got good long shot. He's got good first touch. He's got good finishing. He's got good composure, a little bit of flair. He's going to work really well to sit back and take those shots in while Barber and Jigla attack from the outside. Now, our biggest weak point, I think, for this season, it's not really a weak point. It's just not a point of spectacularness. I don't know. Is our midfield here. Our mid centers, we've got Madhu, we've got Masudi, and normally we would also have Farah here, who's also injured. He is out for not a terribly long time, 2 to 3 weeks, but a little while. Good acceleration. He's a good player, and he's very creative with that 18th flare. Our anticipation's not spectacular, and off the ball is not that spectacular. But creative, we'll see if we can control some of that creativity. Madhu is also going to be one of our starters. Pretty solid, if not spectacular, but say good physicals. Mentals are good. Technicals are decent. Again, just not spectacular. Masadi here, again, good physicals. Mentals are pretty good. Another creative player with good flair, good composure, but not great anticipation. So we're going to see how that works, right? They're creative, but they don't necessarily see the field well enough to take advantage of some of that creativity. But he has good first touch. He has a little bit of long shot. The thing that we've run into is all of these guys like to take a shot. And they all have decent long shots, all like 10 or 11. It's not terrible, but I have had to tell a couple of them to dial it back a little bit. And then we've got Martin here. He's normally going to probably be our fill-in, probably be the sub, but he's a very good sub, I think, for 19 years old. Potentially the best technicals of our players there with a 16 passing, decent technical, good free kick taking, which we need a little bit of with corners. Crossing's not spectacular, but that's okay. Good first touch. Mentals are decent. He's very brave. He's good teamwork, good vision. Anticipation of 10, flair of 9, not as creative. So we'll see how that goes. But see, tries killer balls often. Yeah, that's pretty... All of our guys like to take a shot. Across the back, we've already taken a look at Ferraro. Zakar is our other side, or right side back here. He's very good as well. So 21 years old, really good physicals. You can see mentals are pretty decent. Technicals need a little bit of work, but marking and tackling are decent right now with a 10 of crossing as well. So I think we'll be okay with that. Like I say, they're meant to be more defensive players than offensive players in this system. And then we've got Simon back here. We've taken a look at him already. We brought him in. He is starting right now. We'll see how that goes or changes as the season goes on. And I've got Joko Zakov. He is our best defensive center back. He's a holdover from last season. Very good, 29 years old. We'll see how that goes. I mean, you can see good heading, good marking, good tackling. He has some acceleration. He's got some pace, and he's got good positioning. So he's about perfect for what we want. So that's it. I'm going to hit continue a couple times, and we'll be back for the match. All right, guys, we're just about ready for the match. You can see we're ready to click match preview. I thought since we talked so much about the finances, we would see what we've got so far. At the moment, we still have $2.5 million in the transfer budget. We started with 1.8, so we're doing very well there. As far as payroll goes, we're a good 20,000 a week below where we need to be. So I think we're fine there. See a little bit of an uptick there. I mean, you can see the last couple of years, their money's been way down. They were ticking over here close to 5 million, and they haven't been at that point for a couple years anyway. Yeah, I mean, really, for 2 years. Profit loss this month, despite all that. Well, the month just started. It's only the second. Well, we had a little bit of a loss already. Income this month should be about 48,000. Expenditure this month so far is already 80,000. So it is what it is. But I think we're doing okay overall balance. We'll see how the season turns out. Last season, it looks like they just dipped below a little bit. We're starting a little bit higher, and we're still under that. So hopefully things will go okay. Let's take a look at dynamics. You can see match cohesion's good. We haven't made too many changes there. Locker room atmosphere is still very good. Leadership support is up to average. Remember, it was essentially solid red when we took over, when we did that first team preview. But we're doing okay with that. Social group, we're a little bit all over the place for that. We maybe need to see about working that in a little bit. But these two players are players we just brought in. Hopefully they find a spot somewhere up there. We'll see how that goes. Let's see how many people hate me. Not too bad. We've got 3 oppose and 3 support. So not too bad. We got to win these guys over a little bit, and we'll see how that goes. So let's go ahead and start a match. So, again, no real change there. Submit team. Make sure my volume's not too loud. That looks okay. Auto number went really weird for me. Really, really weird for me. It wouldn't let me change stuff. It had stuff locked in, and there were players I wanted to adjust, and it says, nope, that's what they have. And it only gave player numbers to some of the players on my roster, not all of them. It's very weird. So we're going to run into that as we start bringing subs in as we go. All right. Give them a morale boost. They don't care. Let's see what we got going on then. I have been playing up here just so we can kind of watch the formation a little bit initially. That's the plan. See how things work. That's not exactly the way we wanted. Oh, wait, I'm not sure who got the free kick there. But it wasn't a highlight, so that's all that matters. So nothing much going on so far. We did get a shot there, and it was on target, and it was not long, so I'll take that. Their team looks nervous, interestingly enough. So maybe we want to take the fight to them. I have a setup on a standard, but I wonder if we knock that up to control a little bit. They do have possession, so maybe that's a mistake. But maybe we can get a goal here and shut them down the rest of the way. They're already nervous. This is their first match up, right? They just got promoted. And they are playing against the powerhouse that is AC Ajaccio. So Jigla's got this one. Can he find a partner in the middle there? Oh, Kinsabi was unable to do anything with it. Tomaz manages to hang on to it. Kind of anticlimactic. I thought something was going to happen, and then just nothing. A lot of running around in circles, but it didn't amount to anything. Would have been nice if we would have charged on that a little bit, maybe intercepted that. We get all the way back to Zakar. Again, we're going to play these guys a little more defensive than we have played fullbacks in quite a while. That was just horrible all the way, but Zakar manages to hang on to that. We get it up to Jigla. Hopefully he can beat his guy here, get across back into our target man in the middle. Kinsabi, almost, and Barbier wasn't playing far enough up to take advantage of that deflection. That's a little bit of a negative, but we've had 2 shots so far. Both have been on target, 1/2 chance. They do still have possession, which doesn't surprise us. I mean, it was a lead when we boosted up the status there a little bit. Doesn't really seem to be doing much for us, so I'm going to knock us back down to standard here. See if we can get something. Feed the free kick in. It comes right back to Barbier. Well, kind of. Right back after he jogs very slowly after it. Madu feeds this one up to Jigla. He's got all sorts of space to run. Can he find the target man? There we go! Kinsambi is there, heads away the goal, and we're up 1-0, 29 minutes in. What do we set up as? I think we could probably just go with key highlights in this case. I said I've been trying to watch the formation, so I did extend it all the way throughout the friendlies. But I learned nothing because all the teams were so bad, it didn't really matter. We have no idea how we're going to play against good teams, to be honest. So we see how it goes. Thierry Gross looks like he's picked up a little bit of a knock here. No, he came in injured, it looks like. I don't remember seeing that when the game started, but okay. 4 shots, all 4 have been on target. I like that, and none of them have been long shots. So we'll see how that goes. I think partly that's just because we're going to be feeding stuff into Kinsambi here. He's not going to be playing the ball up himself, and as a target man, he's going to be deep in there. So we'll see how that goes. It's going to be more long shots when we go back to Jordan because he is a false 9. He's going to sit back a little bit farther, and Barbier just slams that one home. There was no faking, he just came in and just did it. He said, "This is what I'm going to do. You can't stop me." Just imposes his will. He comes charging up, 1 touch, 2 touch, bam. Looked like he went 5-hole there. Good finish. We will take the goals. We expect to get goals from him this season. I expect to get more goals from him and Jigla than I do from our strikers, to be honest. I think almost all of our goals are going to come from the front 3 there, so to speak. But I think more so from the wings than from the striker. So, dressing room. I think we can assert that we're don't get complacent. They like that. All right, good. It's what we should have said. Whether they're going to like it or not is a whole nother story. And we do need to worry about whether they like it still till we get our managerial support up a little bit. We have to make those positive adjustments there. 6 shots, all 6 have been on target. I like that. 3 half chances, 1 clear-cut chance. They still have possession. Man, did you see all of that there? They just had a flurry of shots, 3 strikes. They just got on the match stats board there, essentially, all at one time. We are having to survive a little bit of a push here. We'll see how it goes. Maybe worth dropping back to counter, but I'd like to see how we're going to do just as we are. There we go. Zakar manages to steal that one, feeds that up to Kinsambi. Hopefully he goes out left here, probably. Yeah, he goes out to Barbier, who feeds it right back in. Misses the target man, but we still managed to get a shot on it. It did go wide left. That was our first off-target shot, and it wasn't long, but it was at the edge of the box there. So, counted as a clear-cut chance, though, oddly enough. Maybe it was for the striker. If he would have grabbed that. I think we're going to do a quick concentrate. We didn't need to drop back. We managed to survive that little flurry. That doesn't look like they've managed to do anything else. Our little counterattack seems to have shut them down. Their goalkeeper's having a good day despite the 2 goals. You can see 7 rating, but I mean that's to be expected. We put 6 shots on target. He's had to work today. 2 clear-cut, 3 half chances. So their goalkeeper has done well today. This could easily have been a blowout, and that is match. So a lot of talking for a short match, but we have managed to win it. It's dropped us from 1st to 4th off of that, just on goal differential. We went from alphabetical 1st to goal differential 4th, but I think we can accept that. I think as our first match, we can say I'm pleased. Yeah, nobody cared. Nobody gives a shit what I think, apparently. Just the manager. Who cares what you think? But we will take it. Looks like there were a couple of... Red Star was another team that was just promoted. They got crushed by Laval here. Laval? I'm going to go with Laval. Laval. I don't know. Level. We're going to call him Level. I don't know if it was this series or not, but I served with two guys whose name was Lavalier, spelled differently than this, but we called them Level 1 and Level 2. All right. And that's that. Yeah, 4-1 win here over Clermont Foot. They got crushed at home. That's got to be embarrassing. That's probably to be expected. I don't know if Orleans is supposed to be any good or not, but at least it was on the road for that. So we'll see how it goes. There's another Ajaccio, but they play Nice, oddly enough. So, okay. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you're enjoying this one. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Don't forget to subscribe. Ring the bell if you want notifications, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.